Hi friend, this is my third video about the chapter number 3, Nationalism in India. Up to this time, we have discussed about various issues and the last issue was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre which had happened on 13th April 1919. My name is Gajanan Kulkarni sir and you are requested to subscribe and share my channel for getting more and more benefit to your friends. Now we have to discuss about the next question. Explain the developments of the non-cooperation movement in the countryside. Countryside means village area. Answer. The non-cooperation movement spread to the countryside. It drew into its fold the struggles of peasants and tribals, which were developing in different parts of India in the years after the war. Awadh region. Number 1. Peasants were led by Baba Ramchandra, a sannyasi who had earlier been to Fiji as an indentured laborer. Point number 2. The movement here was against talukdars and landlords who demanded from peasants exorbitantly high rents and a variety of other cases. Cesses. Cesses means taxes. Point number 3. Peasants had to do beggar and work at landlords' farms without any payment. As tenants, they had no security of tenure, being regularly evicted so that they could acquire no right over the leased land. Point number 4. The peasant movement demanded reduction of revenue, abolition of beggar, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. Point number 5. In many places, Nai, Dhobi, Bans were organized by panchayats to deprive landlords of the services of even barbers and washermen. Point number 6. In June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru began going around the villages in Awadh, talking to the villagers and trying to understand their grievances. Point number 7. By October, the Audh Kisan Sabha was set up headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, Baba Ramchandra and a few others. Within a month, over 300 branches had been set up in the villages around the region, and in such way the developments of the non-cooperation movement had taken place in a huge quantity in the countryside area, and the peasants and the tribal people had participated in a huge quantity in this non-cooperation movement. Next question. Why did the Congress leadership was unhappy due to peasant movement? This is also important question which can be asked for 3 months. See, why did the Congress leadership was unhappy due to peasant movement? Answer. The Congress leadership was unhappy due to the non-cooperation movement spread in 1921. Number 2. The houses of talukdars and merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted or plundered, and grain hoards were taken over. Number 3. In many places, local leaders told peasants that Gandhiji had declared that no taxes were to be paid and land was to be redistributed among the poor. Point number 4. The name of the Mahatma Gandhi was being invoked to sanction all action and aspirants. And one more important thing is the Congress leadership were gaining maximum support from the side of talukdars who were economically rich. But when the common people such as the peasants and the tenants started to oppose to the talukdars, at that time the Congress leadership was become unhappy. They thought that these peasants are going against to the talukdars who were the backbone of the Congress session. Let's move on the question. What restrictions were brought by the colonial government on the tribal people? This point is very much important because in chapter number 4 will also such type of incidents will come. What restrictions were brought by the colonial government on the tribal people? Here colonial government means British government who ruled India more than 150 years. Point number 1. Answer. In the in the forest regions, the colonial government had closed large forest areas, preventive, preventing people from entering the forests to graze their cattle or to collect fuel wood and fruits. Point number 2. This enraged the hill people who were residing in the forest. Point number 3. Not only were their livelihoods affected, but they felt that their traditional rights were being denied. Point number four, when the government began forcing them to contribute bigger for road building, the hill people revolted. Point number five, in the Gudem hills of Andhra Pradesh, for instance, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s, and in such way, whatever restrictions wanted to bring by the side of the colonial government, the tribal people had continuously opposed it because British people wanted to utilize the land of the tribal people for their own benefit, and they came to know that tribal people's movement are not useful or beneficial to the uh, Britishers, and that's why they had asked to the tribal people to become settle at one place because Britishers wanted to collect land revenues from these tribal people. Next question. Explain the qualities of Alluri Sitaram Raju. This is a very, very important question of this chapter. Number one, Alluri Sitaram Raju claimed that he had a variety of special powers. See, Alluri Sitaram Raju was claiming himself that he had a variety of special powers. Now we have to discuss about which powers were having with him. He could make correct astrological predictions and heal people, and he could survive even bullet shots. Means he was very physically strong person, and he was having a knowledge of astrology also. Number 3, captivated by Raju, the rebels proclaimed that he was an incarnation of God, which the common people were thinking that he was also an inseparable part of God. Number 4, Raju talked of the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi, said he was inspired by the non-cooperation movement and persuaded people to wear khadi and give up drinking. Point number 5, but at the same time he asserted that India could be liberated only by the use of force, not non-violence. Point number 6, the Gudem rebels attacked police stations, attempted to kill British officials, and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Point number 7, Raju was captured and executed in 1924 and over time became a folk hero. It means in the year 1924, Alluri Sitaram Raju was captured by the Britishers, and he was given the capital punishment, means he was hanged by the Britishers, and in such way he became a folk hero of the tribal people. Okay, now you have to understand that there were some clashes between the views of Mahatma Gandhi ji and Alluri Sitaram Raju. Alluri Sitaram Raju was thinking that if we want to throw away to the Britishers from India, then we have to use the various types of weapons. But Mahatma Gandhi ji was always in the support of non-violence. These differences you must know. And let's move on the next slide. Question is, what were the understanding of the plantation workers about Mahatma Gandhi and Swaraj? See, plantation workers, you should be aware that from South India, so many people were going to work in Assam plantation, and these people were having their separate understanding regarding to the Mahatma Gandhi and Swaraj. These people were having various types of expectations. Point number one, for plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed, and it meant retaining a link with the village from which they had come. Point number two, when they heard of the non cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantations, and headed home. Point number three, they believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. Point number four, they however never reached their destination. Stranded on the way by a railway and a steamer strike, they were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. And in such way, whatever expectation of the plantation workers were having, it could not become success because which people had decided to run away from the plantations, those people were caught and they were punished in a very brutal manner by the British planters. But these people were having great ambition from the Gandhi Raj. This is also a very important question. Let's move on the next question. Explain the Inland Immigration Act 1859. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission, and in fact, they were rarely given such permission. Okay, this question can be asked for 1 mark only. Explain the Inland Immigration Act, which was made in the year 1859. It was for the plantation workers who were not permitted to leave the plantation gardens without the permission, and when these people were asking to their British planters to get permission, that was given by them also. Let's move on slide.